Excuse me for this little performance. Welcome, welcome. Whoa. Excuse me. One more time. Hi everyone. It's difficult to breathe in this one, I must admit. Well, I cannot hear you yet because you're very good Zoom users and you muted yourselves, which is good for you. Not so good for me because eventually I would like to have a conversation with you. Okay. Okay, I will introduce myself. Is that fine? I don't need to look at my notes to introduce myself. I'm just checking. Very nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Nadezhda, and I think I need this to drink something. It's not part of a performance, and I'm actually thirsty. So, my name is Nadezhda, and I'm a teacher at DNS. I don't teach like this usually. It's part of my hobby, my passion. When I'm a teacher, I'm quite serious, and we talk politics and education and philosophical theories. But my heart, big part of my heart belongs to clown therapy. And yeah, this is a small part of how I would like to talk about this topic, the science of laughter, as the course was titled. And yeah, I don't know if any of you have heard about clown therapy before?
No.
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 Really, feel free to unmute yourselves as long as there are no like super background noises. I think that would be nice to talk. Yeah. I can also help you if that's what. So yeah. Yes, the question is still standing. How many of you have heard about clown therapy? Adonis, I'm not sure which way.
Adonis.
Nice to meet you. Haven't. I don't know if you have went to circus or met some clowns in your life. That also could be a point of reference. Yes?
Yeah, I've definitely seen some clowns, but I don't know about clown therapy.
Okay, that's actually great. So we will talk about some new ideas. Welcome to whoever just joined. And actually I lost part of my, no. Whoever just joined, nice to meet you everyone. My name is Nadezhda. Yes, then another place to start would be if you could say your names and you could tell me maybe one word or a couple of words of impressions you had so far. And if you have ever heard about clown therapy or laughter therapy, that could be another point of reference. So we could hear a little bit of voices around the Zoom room.
Okay, I've heard of laughter therapy, but not clown therapy, although it's pretty therapeutic to watch a clown. And well, so far, I was intrigued by your performance. So I was curious. It was mostly addressed to youngsters, like toddlers and young students, the whole approach. Wasn't it?
Thank you. I'm thinking maybe I should go with names. So Daria, maybe you'd like to share?
Hi, yeah, my name is Daria, as you can see. Well, I've never heard. You can hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I have never heard about clown therapy, but I mean, I've seen clowns in my life. I'm not I'm not a big fan of clowns, to be honest, because of all the news about clowns, killers, and so far.
Mm.
But I mean, that's something new, and I was also intrigued by your performance because that's something I didn't expect for sure to see.
Okay, thank you, Daria. Ioana, maybe you can.
Hi, I'm Ioana. I'm from Romania.
Hi there.
I never heard about this, but I just realized how hard it is to perform something that it's. I felt embarrassed. I don't know why. This is what I felt. Oh my god! And then I started smiling and was good. And then I started clapping and I was feeling more relaxed and comfortable with this. But the first stage was, oh my god. So yeah, I can't wait to hear about this. Thank you for
Okay.
doing this.
Thank you for sharing. Tristin?
Yes. Hi, my name's Christine. I was very intrigued by your performance as well. I thought it
Popular
was.
word, intrigued. Okay.
I think maybe it was more for children though, maybe. But it's a good icebreaker. Gets people comfortable. I'm not very used to making these online class calls, so it was good.
Okay, thank you. Karen, would you share something?
I didn't see the performance. I just got in. I'm so sad about that. I'd like to see it. I've heard about clown therapy, and I know it's been used in hospitals mostly. That's what I've heard of, but I've never seen it like personally. I've never got in touch with it. By the way, my name is Karen, and I'm from Italy.
Nice to meet you. And thank you. We can see if we can fix the performance bit. Oh, we have some more new people. Alina, would you share something?
Hello, yeah, I missed as well your performance. Uh, I have heard about laugh therapy and also through some other train like this, like lesson through the net. I've heard some other students saying that you have this teacher who is who done it in Turkey, I think. But I don't know anything more than that.
Okay. And Christina?
Yes. Hi, I'm Christina. I mean, I kind
We don't hear you so well. At least I don't.
hear me. Can you hear?
Yeah, a bit better.
Yeah. So I will try to be louder. What was I saying? Yeah, I mean, I guess I know that it exists. As somebody said, I know that there are clowns in hospitals. I don't know so much about how it works, but also like I'm not really a fan of clowns. I'm not a fan of circus, so I didn't really have any experience with it personally. But I'm curious what is going to happen.
Okay. And we have a new person, Diane, I believe. I don't know if you are here and if you would like just, well, you are joining a bit last minute, but maybe you can just say who you are, where you're from, and if you have heard about clown therapy or laughter therapy before.
Yes, I'm sorry that I'm late. I was just on the run and we have like visits in the house and so on. My name is Diane. I'm coming from Luxembourg. I'm joining here because I'm interested about more. And I already heard about it. It's already a long time ago when I was in high school in my 12th grade. We had psychologies and it was like, I can remember a little bit about it, but it's like a long time gone. I mean, I'm like already like working for some years and so on. So I'm curious about your session today.
Okay. Oh, there's another person joining. Hey. Well, I guess that could be Maya. Are you here with us?
Hi, yeah.
Hi, we've been just finishing the round of introducing ourselves very shortly, who we are, where from, and if we have heard and have not about clown therapy and laughter therapy.
I'm sorry, just a second.
What? The second it is.
Oh, so sorry. I thought that I can join with us, but no. So
Okay.
have fun. Bye bye. Sorry.
Have fun too. Bye bye, Maya.
Thank you. Sorry. Bye.
Okay. Well, it was nice to hear, and actually, it's great to hear about the conceptions or preconceptions people have about clowns and laughter, and specifically the art of clowning, because that's maybe the approach I chose, and I don't think it necessarily needs to be delivered through a clown. I mean, laughter therapy does not need to be delivered through a clown. Clown is a little bit more of a shell, which later on I will explain how I used it and why did I choose to use it. But if we talk about laughter as a form of therapy, I don't know how much actually you have heard about what it can do to our bodies, to our brains, and so on. And I would like to share with you one simple picture. And obviously I'm not a scientist, but I really, really like researching and collecting information about various topics, and specifically about the science of laughter. And if you already have all on your screens this little chart, for example, I don't know if any of you have heard about these things before, these benefits. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should expect reactions actually, but anyway, we can just go ahead. I really appreciate dialogue, and of course, through Zoom, we will need to be careful not to jump on top of each other with our voices, but otherwise, feel very welcome to share your thoughts and answer your questions, and yeah, be part of the conversation, because it's not like, you know, I'm going to teach you something in this session. Yeah. Okay.
Well, can I just say that, well, the stress relief and maybe, well, the relaxation in general, I've heard about that it's very helpful when, you know, when you're in a stressful situation and you remember something positive, something which makes you laugh, you feel better. But I mean, I took it for granted that, you know, it always happens like that, at least for me.
Okay. But personally, would you also, in your personal experience, we don't even go to science, do you feel relieved, like, you know, remembering funny moments, or just laughing at the problem instead of being worried about it? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So that happens to you. That's great. And it's true. And maybe I can just share some results of my research, let's call it like that. But there are a lot of studies done on the human brain, and especially how it reacts to laughter and what happens to people when they laugh. And one of the actually big misconceptions, I don't know, international community of researchers, and if you want, I can provide you sources after the course. I will not go into that now, if you pardon me. But the common misconception is that laughter is response to humor, which actually it is not. Laughter is much more complex response, our emotional response to the environment that we face. And somehow, like the rule of thumb, you know, like our brain between pleasure and fear will always try, and we always choose pleasure. And laughter is that pleasure, because if you still see the picture on your screen, all the biological, physical effects the laughter has on your body, the boost of immune system, you know, your muscles are activated, the oxygen flows through your body to your brain, the stress hormones tend to lower or be released. It actually helps to relax your muscles, and it produces endorphins, beta endorphins, and endorphin hormones, which are hormones of happiness. All of those effects give pleasure to us. All of those very based in the physical sensations, yeah? And of course, between pleasure and fear, our body will tend, as I say, to choose the pleasure, to search for that pleasure, for that reward to itself, to ourselves. And this is basically what laughter is. And actually, my favorite part of researching about the science of laughter is how we respond to seeing somebody's misfortune, seeing somebody fall or trip or slip or being slapped, or like seeing somebody in pain or suffering mildly often makes us laugh. Yeah, and sometimes it's like, oh, that's not a very good response, because, like, you know, a person might be in pain. But actually what happens in our brain is not because it is funny as a form of humor that the person falls or hits the light pole or whatever, or slips on a banana peel. But it's because our brain, in a split of a second, is able to assess if this situation should cause fear or should cause pleasure. And technically, well, you can then also assess the difference between adults and children. For example, you know, often you would see that children have like a delay in a reaction to, like, when they fall, like they take longer to assess, is it a scary, fearful situation, or is it actually a situation where they needed or able to generate this rewarding response? So there was a study conducted where people were presented to different videos or pictures of people falling and tripping and being generally in bad luck. And people were responding differently when they were able to clearly assess that situation was not dangerous, or when, for example, they could see clearly the emotions on people's faces, we can see clearly the environment. But when you're not able to see that, and you're not able to clearly decide, your brain is not able, that it's a safe situation, it not necessarily will make you laugh. So this is the difference between the response of your brain and of your body to a question: is it pleasurous, as I will laugh and receive a reward from it, or is it actually scary and I should be afraid and kind of fight or flight, you know, response. So yeah, this is a little bit of a background, let's call it like that, to what laughter is all about. Yeah, and then we come maybe a little bit closer to what actually I did in the beginning of this performance, and why I find clown as a great form to deliver laughter therapy. And just few things about it are actually helping you or helping the audience to assess the situation faster. So, for example, or actually, no, maybe I should introduce you a little bit. Oh, I went too far. I'm sorry. Wait a second. So, I was telling you before that clowning is my passion, and then what kind of scientist I would be if I would not give some credibility to that. And I wanted to share with you how I practice this passion, and also like what I will base maybe my conversation on, like the experiences which I had. And that's very much my experience with being a clown. And the bigger part of it happened when me and my classmate, when I was a DNA student, we went out to deliver clown therapy, laughter therapy in Turkey among refugee children in 2000, my goodness, 15. Yes, 2015. And you see a picture on the screen, right? No. You are sharing the screen. Okay, I'll stop sharing and start sharing again. That's my troubleshooting mechanism. Do you see it now? Ah, great. It's nice to see some reactions. Okay, so simply put, that's me. And yes, so what I did, I went out clowning, and maybe it's also important to share that actually it's very challenging for me, and I'm always very nervous before any performance. Even today, whoever didn't see it, well, and whoever did, maybe it takes 5 minutes of time, but it's a very long emotional preparation, because I think Joanna said that you were embarrassed in the very beginning, and it is embarrassing. And there is this gesture of a clown to, I don't know a positive word for it, but humiliate yourself in a positive way, put yourself below, down, the people surrounding you, people looking at you, to make them feel safe around you. Because it doesn't matter if it's between adults or between me as an adult and a child. When you see a new person, it takes a long time to judge if this person is, you can feel safe around this person, yeah? So I think clown figure in this way can be very, delivering the information much faster. And of course, then we don't talk about previous traumas of being scared of a clown and things like that. It happens, but generally, being awkward, being weak, being clumsy, making mistakes, somehow expressing your emotions very clearly on your face, that the person doesn't need to take time to judge if you're surprised, like, you know, because often we adults, we are surprised like this, yeah, but a clown would be surprised like so you as an audience, you do not need to take time to understand my emotions, yeah, therefore it makes you feel safer. Yeah, and everything before what I said about, you know, like not feeling inferior to me, but actually feeling superior over me. It makes us feel safe. Language is another thing, and maybe it's not so relevant for adults, but it's very, very relevant for children. When you deal with an audience of children with whom you don't have common language, for example, not speaking the language people don't understand also can make people feel more safe. Speaking the language of gestures, speaking the language of face and emotions and sounds, also can make children, or adults is a bit more, you know, we adults are more complicated always, but make you feel more safe. And that's that part, which I was also explaining before in the scientific part, is what makes a difference. What makes it easier for you to respond with laughter. Because as soon as you don't need to take too much time to judge if it's scary or funny, you're actually able to respond in whatever way will be more rewarding for you. You don't need to protect your life from a person you don't know. Right? So yeah, I will feed you some more pictures just for the reference, you know, it's nice. Yeah, so and there are many different ways, and it doesn't matter if you're a clown or not really, but I'm not sure if I finished that thought, that why did I choose a clown part? No, I didn't. I have a helper behind the screen who reminds me what I did and what I didn't. But anyway, choosing a clown also helps me to be feeling more safe and protected, and that's a very kind of, you know, like cognitive process, that when you have your nose on and when you have unusual look, and this is not how I usually look like, I'm just saying, and then maybe you have some unusual clothes which you don't usually wear, they're brighter, they're more funny. I wouldn't wear this nose, these tails, and this hat together. So I don't necessarily feel like myself, and I don't feel the pressure of receiving the same response as I usually do. You know, I don't feel the pressure of being respected or being or receiving some kind of feedback from people, you know, or and so on and so forth. Even the laughter on my jokes, I wouldn't necessarily expect it, yeah, because is a alter persona as such, is not only me who is performing. And this is yeah, this is somehow this preparation of entering into this new shell. I really feel that changing your looks a little bit definitely helps to transform, to feel a little bit differently and be more prepared. And then again, yeah, establishing some kind of tactics and never exiting this role. For example, I'm usually very strict about not appearing in a costume of a clown before the performance starts. I would be very strict after the performance. I would need to completely undress before I'm able to interact with children normally as myself, because when I'm a clown, I have a very specific language, very specific sounds and behavior and emotional expressions. Yeah, and that's just it's not a rule of how it should be done. I'm just sharing how I find it easy to transition into this art. Yeah, and another thing, actually, what I find works very well with children, definitely. You know, as I said, adults are super complicated. It's not so much fun to work with them, but with children, is to be interested and to be curious. And that's actually, like with adults, it also would work, I'm telling you, especially when you have physical access to the person. When somebody is genuinely interested in you, it's like you normally cannot resist the sensation of pleasure of being interesting. Yeah, so you would want to be part of this relation, this exchange, when somebody's interested and you are interesting to that person. And with children, usually it happens very quick. When you want to give them something, a balloon, or you want to shake their hand, or you would like to invite them for a, I don't know, standoff or sing or dance or whatever, being interested in a person, it also works with the group dynamics. Because if you have, for example, 20 people, yeah, maybe you are not able to express your interest in every single person very specifically, you would use a lot of time. But just being interested in specific people kind of raises hope in others that the person is interested in us. Group dynamics always share the emotions eventually. So those were just some things. Yeah?
Well, sorry, what was your name again?
Nadezhda. That's a difficult option. Oh, well, you're good.
Okay. So it seems like it was a whole success in Turkey, and but you did say you got nervous before the performance. What were like some other difficulties? Because I don't know if you speak the language as well, but I feel like it could be hard. Like, what if they're not laughing, and then you get stressed out? And...
Yeah, definitely. Well, I can tell you. Well, now I close the Zoom. I'm back. I was thinking that I could tell you also the worst maybe experience that I had, and that was kind of summarizing all the possible mistakes you could make as a clown. And that was the last performance in that tour, and that was in an actual refugee camp with couple of hundreds of inhabitants, and definitely around 80 to 100 children of very different ages, so from 2 years old up to 15. So in that stage, being nervous before the performance was like nothing to compare of actually how difficult it was to carry it out, because I'm not a professional. I never was trained to be a clown. I never did a single course on it. It's all experience-based, research-based, observation of our clowns based. And when I went there, I never had an experience with such a big group. I think the biggest group I did maybe was 20, 30 people, but with support of adults, which is amazing, because if you have support of adults whom children trust, that's it. You know, if an adult trusts you and child trusts an adult, it's almost it's a quick way to infiltrate the group. So in that situation where there were up to 100 children and only one adult with me whom they trusted and who trusted me, so we had like this only one person to connect us, no common language, children distressed a lot. So actually this is where humor or interest or curiosity or being weaker or being somehow like nothing could really bring them to the state of safety. And this is something like state of them personally feeling safe enough to respond to my humor with laughter. And of course, it's not so black and white. There were kids who also laughed and were a bit more participated. But generally, I also mentioned before, the group dynamics was that nobody felt safe. And well, if I would simplify it very much, like when you're part of a group, one person cannot stand out. You will be part of a dynamics. You will be part of a general sensation, that general feeling. Yeah. So maybe 2-3 children would feel a little bit safer and reach out to me, but then it will be kind of a little bit suppressed by the general sensation of a group of not feeling safe and not feeling ready to, you know, take a step towards this like pleasure of laughter and that. And this is like me kind of not being completely aware of their living conditions, because obviously children in that camp were deprived of a lot of basic safeties, you know, that is, if we talk about toys, if we talk about the housing situation, we talk about adults make a big difference, really, how adults behave during the performance or in general at any given time. How do they trust, and especially in that case, it was very obviously like I'm a foreigner and I look like a foreigner and no makeup can hide that. Yeah, adults who don't trust foreigners, children would not trust me either, also for that reason. So in a way, you know, like there was nothing, like it was very difficult to cross that bridge, and we didn't manage. And just basically the best thing I could do is accept the failure and give some balloons to children and just like finish off. It was not negative, but it was not a positive experience either. And I think this is a way you can really find challenges beyond that point of like, oh, I'm a little bit stressed before performance. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Yeah, actually, these are the bits of information that I wanted to share, and I would really like to have some conversations about it, or towards that, like in your life, for example, did you can you apply these things that we talked about, or do you have some questions as Christine had, like I'm jumping between questions, I'm sorry. The first question I wanted to ask, if in your personal life you actually had the experience of situations where you could look back and see, okay, like, you know, I felt relaxed, and not necessarily, you know, you laughed, but you were allowing yourself to be uplifted, for example, or laughter. Laughter is definitely something I'm interested in. What makes you laugh? These kind of things.
I didn't quite understand the question. Could you please repeat this question, please?
Yeah, sorry. I guess my question is simply, can you relate whatever I was saying before to your personal experience, some situations in your life, or some literature you have read? Can you relate? Yeah.
I don't know. I laugh a lot when I'm watching a good show. It might not even be a comedy, but when a show is getting really good and you start getting excited, sometimes I'll laugh like really loudly by myself. Or with good social interaction, when you're having a good conversation.
Mm-hmm. Actually, this is a very nice point. I forgot to mention that laughter is very much connected to the social background and environment. And as you say, like, not so many people laugh alone, because it's not as rewarding actually as laughing in a group. Because as I was also mentioning before, group dynamics, they intensify the emotions. They also intensify positive emotions, and they intensify the reward. So when you laugh with somebody, you really feel like it's a rewarding experience, and you're laughing about the same thing, and that means, you know, you belong, that's it, you know, you're gonna live forever. Alone, you don't have exactly the same response. It's more like just very internal. I mean, we still laugh alone, obviously, but in a group is much easier and much more rewarding also. According to science, it's not black and white.
I think it's great when you can laugh alone. Like you don't need anybody, you know, to feel comfortable and funny. I mean, I think it's even. I mean, if you think about it, maybe it's even more rewarding when you can laugh alone. Like you can be okay with yourself. You don't need anybody to make you feel good. Do you understand what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Huh?
I'm not sure if somebody said something. I didn't hear. But I totally agree. I think it's great to be able to laugh at yourself, but I don't think it's a contradiction to group experience laughter. It's just, how to say, like, if you laugh in a group, it doesn't mean that you can laugh alone. And of course, we are all very, very, very different people. So I guess somebody would be actually feel it more rewarding to laugh alone than in a group because of whatever many reasons out there. Yeah.
I had funny experiences when I was reading, actually. Like, I don't know, I'm actually a high reader, like any books since I'm 12. And it is sometimes weird, like you sit like in the class, everybody is talking about whatever, you have your earplugs in, and I was reading my book, and there was, for me, a really, really funny situation. So I was laughing due to the book, and people were looking at me like, are you all right? You're laughing just by your own. I'm like, no, I have the book. And then they laughed, and I was like, okay. But they were not mean laughing. Well, some, but not all of them. So it was okay for me. I just like back into my book and reading.
It reminded me of a situation. I was listening to a podcast and I was laughing at what like, because it's a comedy show, and my friend was sitting next to me, and then she started laughing as well, and she didn't know I had the earplugs in, and she thought we're just like randomly laughing together. And it was
amazing. Any more stories?
I like that saying, like randomly laughing together. I think that's not many people who do something like this. We just randomly laugh together.
Right. I think Adonis wanted to say something.
Yeah, I had like a similar story with a book. Traveling in a like on a ferry, and I was reading a book. No earplugs or anything like Diane, but just reading the book because I found it hilarious. At some point, I couldn't hold myself. Like I was spasmic laughing, like really, and out loud. Which of course caused a cause of reactions from some other passengers, like pointing at me and laughing out loud, all of them, but I couldn't stop, really. I was trying to stop and I couldn't. And it was going on and going on. Like, as I kept on laughing, they kept on laughing, and more people were laughing on the boat.
Actually, I think
it's kind of contagious, I believe. Sorry, yeah.
This is a very good point. Many people describe laughter as like an opioid, and this is why often happens when you see somebody laughing or you start laughing. Sometimes it like goes out of control, and you really just cannot stop, or like you're not even sure maybe anymore what you were laughing about, or maybe it was not actually that funny. But this reward of laughter and the sensation it gives to your body, you just want to have more. So you just generate it, it's not fake, yeah, but it's like kind of self-generated. And you can definitely read some scientific reports about that too, but it's also great to just rely on experience.
Yes.
And another thing, it is great compliment to the books, because if you're able to laugh from the book, it means that characters are relatable. It means that it's really realistic. It like touches you. it makes you feel good and safe and capable of response. So maybe you should share the titles, names of the books, because they seem quite good.
I believe that the process that is working is the process that is at work is imagination at that point. So exactly that's what's happening like in real situations, like when you're using the medium of a clown to show something or make something funny by means of exaggeration, like tripping and having extraordinary reactions. It's all about the imagination. So this when you present, like when you're doing the clown, you're showing something, but when you're reading something, you just imagine whatever. So it doesn't matter on the same page. We're not going to be on the same page. I'm going to laugh out loud on this page, but maybe you are going to laugh out loud, like on a completely different chapter. It's how you construct the images and how the narrative helps you to do that. So in a way, this is how is a means to produce humorous situations in the context of a classroom.
Sorry, could you repeat that last sentence?
Yes, in the context of a classroom, probably this would work to create a situation or make the students imagine something, like using their own imagination and transforming it into a humorous situation.
And for example, it's a great trick in order to fit a larger audience, instead of projecting a picture which might not fit somebody. Like, sleeping on a banana peel does not necessarily make everybody laugh. But if you ask people to use their own imagination to imagine something funny, in the safety of our own mind, is much easier to relate to that image than to feel moved by that image. And somehow it's both easy and difficult, because like Daria was saying, like it would be really great if we're just able to do it on our own, like laugh and enjoy, and like, for example, using our imagination. So I think maybe it's difficult to reach that point, but at the same time, if you are able to practice it, practice makes perfect. So if you're able to use your imagination to make yourself laugh, you're in the right way, especially in the classroom. It's really great, but it needs training. Definitely needs requires training. Any more ideas?
Can I just add about awkwardness and relatability and imagination? Like what you were saying about I don't know, clown therapy, right? When you were performing, when you were being a clown, when you were like wearing that role or a mask, and you wanted to change, this moment you're yourself, that moment you're a clown, next moment you're again yourself. And you didn't want to, you wanted people to see that straight line, between those roles. When you let's say you like somebody and you want everything to be perfect, you want to seem perfect, but the real connection, I think, really happens when something weird or awkward happens, which makes the person person feels more comfortable. The person sees that you're like humane and that you're a real person, that you laugh or you slip or you do some stupid thing, and that person does the same. So that's where comfort arrives, I guess. So like that that moment of awkwardness and weirdness, that's where people feel comfortable, right? Do you agree with me? I don't know, that's what I started thinking when you were telling me about these awkward situations, even when you don't know the language, but when there's those simple awkward situations, you feel more relatable. So that's where I guess clown therapy is good.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how is it connected to the part of like being yourself and being a clown, but definitely I see that part that it's very, like, as I was saying, when you don't feel threatened by the person and you do not need to think. For example, for children, is really, especially children with difficult background who have been threatened physically or mentally by adults before. It's very important moment to judge, to take time and judge, is this adult threatening or trustworthy? And by putting yourself below that level, making yourself awkward and clumsy and I don't know, falling and being kind of weak and fragile and relatable in this way, it really takes away this time of, like, shortens this time of judgment. And yeah, so I agree, I think.
I agree. I totally agree. The physicality plays a very important role. How the other person perceives you, especially with their kids. Like we're talking about children. Yes, it might be scary. The physical form of some person might be scary. It might be too tall. Especially for children, it might look like a giant, let's say.
But actually for adults, it works too. And for adults, it's more in a social context, because we are used to social roles. There is a person who is in the lead, there is a person who has power, and there is a person who is weaker or doesn't have power, is not in the lead, and is a subordinate, is supposed to follow the lead. And as I said, like, it's more complex with adults because it's very much based on, life experience, and you cannot just jump that bridge. But still, being clumsy and weak and awkward also gives you that shorter, it's maybe shorter like this, but it shortens that time that adults, eventually we as adults, we laugh at people being awkward. Yeah, that's quite a solid basis for any comedy show, I think, because we do not feel threatened by that. We don't feel like we need to subordinate, like subject ourselves to these awkward people. So yeah, it would be nice to hear some more voices. Or Christine, now I just seen your.
So this is a bit of a weird question, but I don't want to seem like someone that doesn't have emotions or anything. But when someone is trying to be funny and you just don't find it funny at all, but you want them to make them feel good, you want to show them like, oh, like, it's okay, it wasn't funny, but you want to laugh anyway, but you don't want it to seem fake. Like, what can you do in that situation? Because you don't want to be mean,
I'm not sure if I'm able to answer this question.
I don't know what to do with laugh therapy.
I think if I would go like deeper scientifically into psychology, is definitely about trying to recognize why are you not able to laugh, because again, laughter is not a response to humor. Yeah, humor is just a medium which kind of invites you for this exchange, but maybe it kind of twists the picture a little bit. But if a joke is not funny, it's also important to look inside of your head and to think, why can't you laugh from the joke? Yeah, in this way, because well, most jokes are not funny technically, but there is something that appeals to our brain, saying that this will give you pleasure, so now you can laugh at it. Yeah, and it's very personal.
Very good response, actually.
I think,
but I can rely on that, what she said. Sorry, Christina.
Yeah, Diane, maybe first, and then Christina.
Yeah, I'm thinking about children. I have.
Who's talking?
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe Diane can be first, and Christina, then Ioana. Can we agree on that?
I can really rely on what you said. Delia? Was Delia? I was just reading fast your name. Tristan, sorry. I can rely on what you say because there were moments like I don't think many jokes funny, like especially jokes which are not funny, and people laugh on it, and then I'm not laughing. I'm just sitting next to them. I'm just like smiling, or not even smiling sometimes. And they look at me. What don't you smile? What don't you laugh? I'm like, because I don't think it was funny. And they look at me. How you didn't think it was funny? And in the end, like we would then they I don't know. It's not like they explained the joke, but they try to explain why they made it. And then I explain why I don't think it's funny. And then out of this context, we start laughing in some ways. Because I'm a very honest person, I can be very blunt sometimes without meaning like being mean with it. It's not like I want to hurt you with what I'm saying. It's just like I'm not this person who's like, oh, am I gonna hurt his feelings now when I'm gonna say truly that I don't like it? It's not I'm gonna be like, I don't like it. It's just like, sorry, it's not my taste of humor, you know? And then you see, I'm already smiling. And I think on one side, it's really, you have to ask yourself why you think it's not funny. For me, these kind of jokes, I don't think it's funny. It's like stupid jokes with really not even like a little bit funny, just like really stupid and really nonsense. And you just ask yourself, why are you laughing? Like someone smashing potato on the floor. Like, this is not funny. You know what I mean? So, and on the other side, so I think you have to be honest with yourself. You don't have to get mean by telling him that you don't think it's funny, but stay true to yourself and ask yourself, yeah, why I don't think it's funny, and minimize the effort. If it's not necessary to laugh, and if it's not necessary to break down a fight due to joke, because that can happen if you tell someone you don't think he's funny, he's just sometimes fighting a little bit because he wants to be funny. It's not for you. So you see your effort and what you want to go for. And true people always, like people who are true to you, will always accept that you maybe don't think the same way as they're still gonna love you.
Thank you for sharing. That was nice. Christina?
Yeah, and like anyway, even if you're fake laughing, like it's very easy to actually recognize if people are laughing genuinely or kind of forcibly, like fake laughing. I saw this, it was a very nice TED talk about laughter, and she was like playing laughters, and it's when you have it there, it's like very clear which is which. So I think it doesn't make much. But I also think that like a fake laugh can somehow turn into a genuine laugh, because it's this kind of that you just laugh because you're laughing. And I guess it's maybe also how laughter yoga works. I don't know. I never tried it, but I would like to.
Actually, fake laughter has pretty much same physical effects on your body, because our brain is not that smart at recognizing when it's fake, when it's not. That's why we are sometimes afraid of the darkness, or heights, because we cannot always judge correctly. So fake laughter can definitely bring all the same emotions to the table. Yep. And Ioana, I think Adonis said goodbye. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry.
I was thinking about kids. Sometimes I watch them and they laugh like for nothing, but they are laughing so hard. And I think at some point you talk about laughing at the problem, but I find it difficult to laugh when I'm in trouble, when there is a problem. And then sometimes I remember how kids laugh. They just, I don't know, you do just something and they start laughing and they keep laughing. And this is what I've learned, that if you fake laugh, at some point you just gonna laugh, real laugh. I don't know, there are people who say fake it till you make it, or no, others say you have to work it till you make it. But sometimes if you know something is good, but you are not in mood to do it, you just do it and then it will come. And this is what I did. I laughed without having a joke or something. But at some point, my brain activates stuff that are actually
Good.
they're actually funny. Yeah,
Like now,
just pop
like right
something
now.
in my mind. Yeah.
Okay. It's true. Actually, I just wanted to say that I think we also need to realize that it is good that we don't always laugh at the problems, because that means, and this is how we are different from children. Children are still learning what is a situation of pleasure and what is a situation where you need to be afraid. And fear is not bad. Fear is our way to protect ourselves. Obviously, if there is fire, you need to be afraid and move away. That's a very logical thing to do. You shouldn't just stand there and laugh. So this is the difference. So like, not every problem should be laughed at. Some problems are worth being scared of, and not because it's good to be sad, but it's because it's good to be alert and to be ready to respond correctly. And this is what our brains should be good at, and that's what we learn. Sometimes maybe not, we develop no, we don't go there. But we have around 5 minutes maybe, and I would be happy to hear some more voices. If you want to share some more stories, that would be great. I think Alina didn't share much, and Karen. So if you would like that, I'll be happy.
Thank you. I think I can relate to many things which were said before about laughing by myself. Not on like even just like from some memories. And something else which popped in my mind was how much we want, like I was reminded of these stories, like in when you are in school and you're sitting with your friend and like you're not allowed to laugh, which makes you want to laugh even more.
Forbidden fruit.
And then some other thought was about relaxation of the muscles when you laugh, and for example when you're like doing your abs exercises, and then someone like you start to laugh from the joke or from nothing, and like that you really feel how like laughs affect your body. Yeah.
Thank you. It's nice to hear.
I think I'm that kind of person who loves a lot, and most of the time people just don't understand why. Most of the people just don't get along with me because I always take the bright side of the problems, unless they're really bad problems, unless you cannot do anything about them. And in that moment, obviously, I'm serious. But most of the time, I really like to laugh, especially when I'm alone, like you were saying before, because when you're alone, it really means that you can enjoy what is happening around you, and you can always find the good side. But I was not like this before, and I think this is kind of a response to like bad periods of your life. So I don't know, maybe when you see someone laughing a lot, it might also mean that some problems are behind that person, behind that laughter. So you should be able to actually see if that person is happy, or that person wants to make other people think he's happy or she's happy. Because it was my my situation, my condition before, and now that I know how it is, I'm kind of able to realize that on other people. And so laughter could also mean having a tool to help the others.
Definitely. Wow. Thank you very much for everyone for sharing and joining. And I think my objective is achieved. I have seen everyone smiling throughout the course, which is important, because smiles give us all those brilliant health benefits. Laughter even more, but smile is also good enough. So thank you very much, and join other courses. You can definitely in Facebook or Instagram see other courses we do here at DNS. Share our passions, our talents, or our knowledge with each other. So you're very welcome to join those. And thank you for your support and participation.
Thank you very much for your lecture, like for this session.
It's a session, it's not a lecture, Daria.
Well, yeah, I corrected myself. Lecture / session. I mean, we talked a lot. That was good.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And you have a great evening or whatever part of the day it's there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Have a good day.
You too.